All right. Well, the home stand started out great, but it didn't end the way we wanted it to. The good thing is we're going to Arlington, our home away from home. Mike Stanton and I are here going to talk about some historic things that happened with the pitching staff. We're going to talk about the road ahead, and we're going to talk about who might we want to come up and help out first base and some people get some offense going. Let's get going right now.
I'm looking to the bullpen to bring my lefty in. Keep the lead and make your team look pedestrian. It's in your wheelhouse, we'll swing for the fence. You know it's money around here, man, I ain't talking expense. Strike one, heat a low in the way, you can't hit it. You know you wanna start a rally, but you better forget it. Strike two, off speed, same spot, your car looking. Get ready at the plate, this time you're not cooking. Strike three, swinging out of the zone. You ain't even touch it first. Tell me how they gonna drive you home. Walking back, looking like we ain't cool then. The game's over, might as well put them back to the bullpen, oh yeah.
That is right, and we are back to the bullpen. I'm here with Mike Stanton. We are here on the end of the weekend, 2 shows in 3 days. Mike, we are on a roll, much more than the Astros offense. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, there's only one place. That is X, formerly known as Twitter, and that is going to be at Mike Stanton 29. Well, you know what? Yeah, this is 2 shows in just a few days, but we got to make up. We missed a little bit of time. We both had some issues going on and weren't able to get on here and talk about our Astros. But hey, here we are now.
That's right. And what better time to talk about that? Not only you see the shirt that Mike's wearing, the Back to the Bullpen shirt, grab that shirt at that QR code right there. Check out our guys, Ever Cruz and his gentlemen and ladies who cut hair, stay there at Barber Shop, 1616 South Friendswood Drive. And as always, we come to you live from the Ram Shirt Studios, sponsored by Ram Shirts. They got shirts. They got all kinds of stuff, promotional needs for your business. Just get a hold of Mark and see what he can do for you. This weekend, the starting pitchers had a job.
Mm-hmm.
And your job is not to strike people out. Your job is to throw strikes. And they threw strikes and they missed bats. And they did a really, really good job. Now, I would say the 6-run output on Saturday by the Rays, you had a few lucky home runs. We call them, most people call them pop flies. We call them home runs in the Crawford boxes. And there were some laser shots. So, you had some unlucky events happen with these, with the pitchers, but Ronell, Kikuchi, and Spencer Arrighetti all went out there and they all 3 shoved.
They did their job. I mean, what is their job? Their job is to go out and at least give your team a chance to win. And I felt like they all 3 did that, especially Kikuchi and Arrighetti today. But even Ronell only gave up a couple runs. So it wasn't like anybody got blown out. The problem is the offense is just in one of those swoons right now. They scored 4 runs in 3 games. And it's so in a way you have to look at it and go, you know what? The Astros were lucky to be able to take 1 from the Tampa Bay Rays.
I know. And, it started out so promising when you took 2 of 3 from the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Then you're like, okay, Pittsburgh, there are a couple games, they can get you here or there. You're like, surely you get 2 out of 3. And then the Rays coming in, they didn't necessarily have a fire sale, but they let go of a lot of guys. Christopher Morel was a new guy that, was hot. His first at bat hits a home run. You didn't really see him do much, but heck, Nathaniel Lau did an amazing job. And the bullpen game today,
mm-hmm.
your Bigley, I think was the guy's name, or Big B. He comes in, he gets the bases loaded. There's no outs, 1 out. And so, Mike, are we supposed to score runs if we get bases loaded with no outs?
Yeah. Well, minimum, you're supposed to score 2 because you can do that without getting a base hit. Just put a couple balls in play, should score a couple runs. But, the Astros, we've seen them do this before, and it's frustrating as all get out. It's not like they're not trying, but for them to get out of that, and how many times we've seen it in the past, and you go, okay, is this it's 1 of 2 situations. Astros are end up going to have a good offensive day, and this is just going to be a hiccup. They're going to have other opportunities, or is this going to cost you the game? Well, unfortunately, for for the Astros, that's exactly what it did. That was their biggest scoring opportunity. They weren't able to scratch a run or two across, and they lose 1-0. And, the Tampa Bay Rays are the team that, coined the term and coined the idea of an opener. And that's exactly what we saw. They had, they had the reliever Bigby come in, and he pitched in the first inning, and then they had the bulk guy come in behind. Now he ended up having to come in with runners on scoring position there in the first inning to get the third out. And then went from there. But the Astros, it just was a very anemic day offensively. I think they only had 3 hits. There were very few at bats with runners in scoring positions. Very few, even times that you would say they scared the ball. They hit the ball hard. It was just a tough day offensively. But Arrighetti and the pitching staff did exactly what they were supposed to do. When you only give up 1 run, you should win that game every single time. I know statistically that doesn't work.
Right.
I know there's going to be times you have a tough day like they did today offensively, but in general terms, those should be won.
Exactly. And with Spencer Arrighetti being out there on the mound and doing what he did, he was emotional today. He was letting this is a kid, grew up in Katy, grew up watching the Houston Astros, going to Minute Maid Park, was there for historic games and all that stuff. And now he is the one people cheering for. And he acts like he's been there. And I love seeing a rookie pitcher, because right now, when your offense isn't clicking, sometimes, especially as a young pitcher, that could probably get inside your head a little bit, going, oh gosh, I got to make sure I keep hitting that corner. I mean, his stuff was moving. And I noticed Yainer Diaz was like pumping his fist, was pointing at him a lot. And there seemed to be a lot of interaction emotionally between him and the catching position, him and the players in the field. And you love to see that. You just hope that next time he comes out and shoves like this, you hope that the offense shows up for him, because this was reminiscent of even the year that maybe it was the year that Justin Verlander won the Cy Young, where he wasn't getting a lot of run support. He got wins, but he would get like maybe 2 or 3 runs.
Yeah.
They just haven't. I mean, Arrighetti, 4 or 5 of his losses, he's had double-digit strikeouts in almost all of them and should have won. So this guy should really, instead of 4-10, should really only almost be 10-4 at this point.
Well, I don't know if I'm going to turn his record over like that, because he has been bitten by the big inning. We know the dude's got swing and miss stuff. We've seen it. We saw it today. I mean, Kikuchi the other day set the season high at 11, and then Arrighetti, blew past that with 12 today. And, strikeouts are sexy. Strikeouts are cool, but that's not what your job is, to, keep the other team from scoring. And both of those guys did their job on that front also. Arrighetti had really good stuff. And, I was impressed that with the emotion that he was showing, that it wasn't affecting his pitching. And that's something that you always have to pay attention to is, when you get somebody, we've seen Fromber have this issue that when he gets emotional on the mound, things do not usually go very well. That's why he's always trying to stay under control, trying to stay focused on what he's out there to do. So, is this something, kind of a new side of Arrighetti that we're seeing? We'll have to wait and see what happens in his next starts. But he was very good today. He deserved the win.
Yeah, he did. Now, with these hitters, like if you look at it, I believe hitters 5 through 9 were 0 for 16 with 8 strikeouts. We went a stretch for about 2 or 3 weeks where hitters 7 through 9 had some of the best averages in baseball.
They're lighting it up.
The ebbs and flow. Jordan had 2 of the 3 hits today. Yainer Diaz got another hit. But those are the only 3 hits, and they were singles.
Yeah.
You didn't have you had 3 walks, so it meant you were. I mean, Jeremy Pena went down at one time, Mike, swung at 3 pitches, all tailing away sliders or sweepers. I mean, of all 3 pitches, none of them hit the strike zone. I mean, they were so far out there. Does this lineup need a shakeup? In other words, is like right here, Michael asks us, do we need to shake up the lineup or do we need to change the lineup? Is a changing of the lineup, an order of the lineup, is that as big of a deal as fans make it out to be? Or if they're major leaguers, it doesn't matter if they're 1, 7, or 9, they're going to hit.
Okay, what you are going to guard against if you're Joe Espada is what is the message that you're sending to the club? That even though this is a mostly veteran club, they got some young players also, but guys that have been around. You don't want to send a message that you don't have their back. You don't want to send a message that you think they're stinking it up so bad that I need to panic and make shake up the lineup. Here's the thing. The Astros use a different lineup all the time. Everybody does. Now, it's not necessarily moving guys from the top to the bottom or the bottom to the top, but a guy's off this, you may move a guy a spot or two, something like that. And those are all considered changes in the lineup. But no, I don't think you can do that. I think there's a way that this team has been successful in the past. Are you going to – Jordan got a couple hits, but if he had gone 0 for, Bregman didn't get a hit today. He's been pretty good for the last couple of months. You going to put him in this, in the 8 hole? No, you're not. You're going to leave him right where he is because that's how this lineup has been designed. That's how this lineup has been put together. So you want to make sure that the message that you're sending – and Joe Espada has been pretty good about this, even – through that first, month, 6 weeks when things were going about as bad as they could possibly go, 12 games under 500, Joe still was saying the same thing. He was still running the same guys out there. Yeah, Abreu was being moved around a little bit, but, he was on his last leg. It's just one of those things that they're going through a little bit of a bad spot right here. What do? You keep working. You try and stay positive. And, go get them tomorrow. That's the great thing. All except for one day of the year, there's always another, for one game of the year, there's always a game tomorrow. And that's the last game of the season, whatever that is. So, there's another game tomorrow. So guess what? Strap it back on, get your work in, clear your mind, and go out there and kick some Ranger rear end.
Yeah, exactly. One of the things I do like, and we'll get to this towards the end of the show, is that I think the Astros have always played really well there. That's why I called it the home away from home. Mm-hmm. But if you really look into their home record versus other teams, Mike, 32-26 is where a lot of teams are right now. Outside of the Cleveland Indians, who are 35-17, you have the Royals, who are actually 36-22. There's really not anybody that separates themselves from the rest of the pack. So to us, it may seem like, oh man, they're losing a lot at home. They're losing a lot less at home this year than they were last year.
Sure.
They are 3 games under 500 on the road, and I think they can fix that going to Arlington. But do you think the offense would it be helped, or is it sometimes overstated? You get a hot bat from AAA, like a DeCenzo or a Whitcomb, or is that more reserved for the guy that's like literally the first overall pick and he's chomping at the bits to, like how much of a spark can a AAA bat be to a major league club?
For a team like the Astros, listen, if the guy comes in and just starts crushing the ball, if he just comes in and then all of a sudden, everything back in the day, I think it was 1997 or 98, Shane Spencer came up for the New York Yankees and hit 10 home runs in September.
I remember.
Just destroyed the baseball. Okay, you know what? Yeah, if somebody comes up, that's going to be a lift. But you don't usually look at your minor league players, especially guys that, aren't really household names, which, with the information we have at our fingertips, whether it's, in the supercomputer we carry in our pocket or the ones that, we're on right now, with the information we have at our fingertips, people know who these minor leaguers and what the numbers are much better. But there's still, even if you're having a great season in the minor leagues, there's still a big jump from AAA, AA, AAA to the big leagues. There's not very many people do what Jordan did when he first got called up. 25 home runs in the minor leagues, 25 home runs in the big leagues, and it instantaneously changed the lineup when he stepped in. It's just there's just not usually very many guys that are doing that kind of stuff. So I think that if the Astros are looking for some kind of big boost from their minor league system, I think there's a lot bigger issues in the lineup. So I don't think they're to that point right now. I mean, this is one of the things I always said, people always complained about Martin Maldonado. We got to get more offense from Martin. Well, listen, if they're looking for offense from Martin Maldonado, the offense is in trouble because that's not what he was there for. He was there as the mastermind behind the plate running that pitching staff. So listen, they've been in a little bit of a bad run here. That's okay. They've done this before. They're still, they're still only a game and a half back. I mean, there's no reason to panic.
They're actually only one game back. Because,
only one?
Yeah, because
the Mariners won today.
No, they actually lost.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. They're only one game back.
Yeah, they're only one game.
So listen, it's still the crazy thing is that we have been spoiled as Astros fans, as Astros fanatics, over the years of the Astros just walking away from the division. And, by the time you hit the All-Star break, it's a shoo-in that the Astros are going to win the division. Guess what? This is how everyone else lives. This is how baseball, tell you the truth, this is how baseball is supposed to be, so that there is drama. That's why, September is August is called the dog days, and September you're going down the stretch because, and you're paying attention every day. You're scoreboard watching. What are the other guys doing? Who's hitting? Who's not? Because one game is supposed to make a difference. And that's the dogfight that the Astros are in right now. And that's kind of what's happening all the way across the league for the most part.
Yeah, exactly. And, you have to look at what they've been doing lately, which gives me a little concern, but I'm not overly concerned because it's Arlington and we just simply play well there. I don't think that can be overstated, but in their last, 16 games, they're 7-9. They're averaging 3.2 runs per game. So their run production is down. That's got to turn around with this club. Yordan Alvarez, you mentioned, he is a game changer. He is a feared hitter. And, we heard today, we got some injury updates. We heard that, Kyle Tucker, we still don't know anything. Justin Verlander sounds like he's starting to turn a corner. He said he's going to have at least 2 rehab starts. So that's a good thing. But he wants to see his velocity tick up more. He actually threw a lot of fastballs because Aledmus Diaz is a fastball hitter. And he wanted to ask Diaz, how did the fastball work? He said it was kind of coming up in on him, which is a good thing. And Lance McCullers done, second year in a row, won't play a single game. So they're starting to figure out injuries. Let's just say there are, so there's 4 names out there. None of them are on the 40-man. You have DeCenzo and Whitcomb, who are both offensive players. DeCenzo is the guy who you would come in and you would bring him in because he can also play first base. Whitcomb is the guy that's hitting for power. Then you have someone like AJ Blueball, or you have Van Way. You have at least one starting option for a pitcher, at least one relief pitcher option, and you have 2 offensive options. Mm-hmm. Do you think the Astros would be best suited to go first for the offense, get someone at first base to help Singleton out a little bit? Because look, Singleton defensively has been phenomenal, but
yes,
it seems to me like he needs more of a platoon, because they're not platooning Dubon enough to really. Maybe he needs a breather. Maybe he needs to sit a game or 2 and work on that swing and things like that. What do you think? Do you think going position player first might be the best play?
I think if you talk about it right now and you want to make a move, you want to bring somebody up. I mean, where are you going to put one of the pitchers? Then you have the whole question, the business side of it, the whole question of the 40-man roster. if your 40-man roster is full and you want to bring somebody up from the minor leagues, somebody has to come off the 40-man roster, and
Right.
then that makes them eligible to be taken by another team for cash. So, there's a lot of things that Dana Brown has to consider in those moves. But, with the struggles that the Astros have had in this homestand, I think you would say that if you were going to make a move, you would it would probably be more of a position player, even though, you have one tough day, you use a whole lot of pitchers in one day, extra innings, whatever it may be. We've seen, moves being made just to get a healthy arm or a rested arm in the bullpen. So you never know, but it's just one of those situations that the Astros can't look for help from anywhere. The only place they can look for help is at each other. And that's how this team has done it in the past. They've got a solid 26-man roster. The pitching staff is doing their job. Now you just have to wait for the offense to turn around, and maybe the change of scenery, getting back on the road, even though they've played better at home this year than on the road, which is kind of an aberration also, because the Astros have always been a better road team, it seems,
100%.
Than they are at home. But, get back on the road and go to a place that you have had success at was it Globe Life Park there in Arlington, and maybe things turn around. All it takes is one swing. All it takes is one good day, and then everybody will relax and things will start happening. And I think that's all that happened today was they ran into some pretty good pitching, and they were just pressing. They didn't score in the first inning with the bases loaded. They knew that was a big scoring opportunity. And then all of a sudden, start squeezing the bat a little bit, start swinging out of the zone, and you get shut out 1-0.
Now, is that what you're seeing out of Jeremy Pena? Just because he started out so hot, Mike. I mean, he started with a great year. You're like, all right, man, Pena is back. And to me, if he's playing the defense the way he can play at a Gold Glove level, and he's hitting the way he was at the beginning of this season or the end of the 2022 season, the postseason, I mean, this is a guy that's got elite stuff from offense to defense. Does he just look like, for him right now, it's something going on between the ears? He's kind of in a funk because, man, he has really dropped off.
Yeah. Is it between the ears? Absolutely, it's between the ears. It's always in between the ears. That's where this game is really played. Whether it's the pitching side, whether it's the hitting side, even defensively, it's and the thing is, this is a very tough sport. It's because it's built around negativity. 3 for 10, you're doing great. Yeah, but you made 7 outs. You got to figure out how to deal with those 7 outs. Same thing with pitching. You make a great pitch on the corner. It's the right pitch, the right situation, the right speed, everything. And it still ends up in the outfield as a base hit. It's just a very frustrating sport. And, what we saw from Jeremy today, he was overly aggressive. He wasn't picking up the ball. He was swinging. He was committing way before he needed to. But again, I mean, they go on the road, and listen, players are always looking for something little to kind of change their luck. Right. Maybe it's not luck, or just change how things are going. We call it luck.
Right.
And maybe going on the road, changing your venue, changing, the site picture,
right.
Getting a fresh start, whatever it is. I mean, you hear it when the month changes. Oh, well, that was a bad month. Well, we're in August now. He gets a new. Why? What does that have to do with it?
Right. You're the same person.
But mentally, it doesn't matter. If it works, then it works. I mean, that's just the way it is. So,
lucky
change of scenery. Change of scenery may be exactly what this team needs. Go up to Arlington, get against the pitching staff that get against pitchers that you have experience against, get to a place that you've swung the bat well, you score runs, and see what happens.
Exactly. And that's the thing. It's literally not just about getting on base, but it's about manufactured runs. And when they can manufacture those runs, like Jordan did that the other day when he took advantage at third base and ran home, you didn't expect to see that out of Jordan. Jordan historically has hit better when he's playing in the field. Does he need to play in the field more? Dubon's gotten more at bats, but he isn't batting well. Chas McCormick is in a funk. And so it really is all kind of contagious. And to me, I still think no matter where this club goes, unless they're statistically eliminated, they're not ever eliminated. But let me just say this with the Rangers, if the Astros can beat the Rangers 2 out of 3, they win the season series, and they pretty much put them in a position where they're not just 9 games behind the third wild card spot. They will be almost 12 games behind the third wild card spot.
Mm-hmm.
And for all intents and purposes, will basically eliminate the Rangers. Maybe not totally, but it'll be very, very difficult for them to get there. And if you lose the series, then you've got a 3-horse race for sure going down the stretch. Is this a must-win series? And I know I keep asking these questions, and one of these days you're going to say yes, but is this a must-win series? Because if you don't win the division, you're not making the playoffs in the AL West.
So to answer the question, the answer is absolutely not.
Okay.
It's not. You still have too much baseball to be played. And you know what? The Rangers are behind you.
Yeah.
I mean, as of right now, yes, the Astros are 1 game back behind the Seattle Mariners. The Rangers are 5.5 games behind the Seattle Mariners. So that makes them 4.5. Even if the Astros got swept, you're still in front of them. So it's one of those situations that you need to, rake your own leaves, mow your own yard, take care of your own business. And you can't even look at the series. What they have to look at is game 1 of the series.
True.
And you want to take it even further down than that, you have to win every inning. You'll win the inning, win the at-bat, win the pitch. Take it down to the bare essentials. If you're playing left field, you need to beat the other left fielder. Whatever it takes to get the job done. And with the Astros, that big run that they went through, that got them back in the race, that got them in first place, that got them into the situation they're in right now. What were they doing? They all of a sudden started doing the little things that we've always watched this team do. Yeah. Offensively, they started manufacturing runs. This isn't a team that hits a whole lot of home runs.
No, they don't.
But what do they do? They were one of the best offensive teams. It's one of the crazy things about early in the season was that they were one of the best offensive teams in the league. Top 3 in most offensive categories, except with runners in scoring position. And for some reason, they couldn't get. But we've always said, just keep giving yourself those opportunities, and you will eventually come through and start scoring runs. And that's how they need to do this. Today, they didn't have any scoring opportunities. They had the first inning, and that was basically it.
That was it.
So, you need more opportunities than that. And it's unfortunate that Arrighetti pitched so well. But hey, hang with them. You lose 1-0, you move on to the next game.
That's right. So let's look at these matchups. The first matchup is Hunter Brown versus Andrew Heaney. Mm-hmm. Hunter Brown's brought his ERA all the way down to 4.11. He's 9-7, 126 strikeouts. Andrew Heaney's also 4-11 with a 4. He's 4-11 with a 4.12 ERA with 107 strikeouts.
Astros have had a lot of success. Astros, one of the things you have to look at, and most major league teams are this way, but the Astros are kind of notorious for this. When they are facing somebody that they don't know, that they haven't got the release point, they haven't seen before, it doesn't matter whether it's a rookie or it's a guy coming from, a different country. I don't know.
Right.
They do not perform very well. They don't. It's just the numbers speak for themselves. Andrew Heaney is not that dude. The Astros have seen Andrew Heaney. I'll have to get the Astros notes before the game and look at them, but they've had to face this guy a dozen plus times. Doesn't throw hard. I think they've even faced him this year already, and they've gotten to him. So, you got to like that matchup, especially with the way Hunter is pitching, the power stuff, the swing and miss. Just having a remarkable season, especially compared to what was the first 7 starts or so?
Yeah.
I mean, it was historically bad.
So he's 0-2 this year versus the Astros, 7.30 ERA.
There you go.
Strikeouts. Thank you, StatMuse.
I like it.
StatMuse is great. But what I like about this is Framber Valdez game 2, Kikuchi in game 3.
Mm-hmm.
Now they don't have any pitchers announced. I think you got those 3 pitchers, Mike. Now we just got through having a series that we've been talking about where they had 3 pitchers go out and do their freaking job.
Yep.
And they didn't do it. Offense, just be put on notice. Your guys are going to shove. You've got to crush the ball out of the ball.
Well, listen, the offense in this last series against the Rays, yeah, it struggled, but they were in all of these baseball games. So that, that helps. The Astros pitchers, especially the starters, they took the pressure off of the offense because they weren't down, 3 or 4 runs after the first couple innings. I've always said there's no such thing as an offense that is designed to come from behind. Especially not multiple innings or multiple runs.
Right.
One that's not, you got to score 1 to win anyways. So that really doesn't count. But when you're down 3 or 4 runs after the second or third inning, man, the offense, it just changes. It changes the way the other pitchers attack your hitters.
Exactly.
It changes the quality of at bat. Now the hitters are on their heels. They're going to have to hit more breaking ball. There's just a lot more that goes on trying to score those multiple runs. That's why, the Astros, I think they've come from behind 5 runs twice, 4 runs a couple times also. Wow. I mean, it's pretty incredible what they've done. But the starting pitchers have done their job. The relievers, for the most part, except game 2 of the Rays series there,
right.
they've done their job. It's just pitchers keep doing your job. The offense will turn around. These guys are too good to struggle for a long period of time.
Well, and that's why whenever Jordan hit that amazing walk-off against Robbie Ray in the Mariners, it was the first time that a walk-off home run had hit and the team came back from being down multiple runs.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only time it's happened. So It is a rarity. But you know what, Mike? I'm actually looking forward to this. I think this West Division race is going to be fun. There's a lot of other baseball teams playing a lot of good baseball. There's a lot of good baseball teams that are sputtering and struggling too. The Dodgers, the Yankees are having their issues. And so we're not the only team that's out there.
Oh, no.
I know
there is serious parity. There is serious diversity here in Major League Baseball. The way, some good teams are supposed to be good that aren't so good. I mean, you just go back and forth.
I mean, the Padres are on fire right now.
Yeah.
The Padres are just they're on a roll. And it's funny, the poor Padres, you just think you're like, this is their year, and they get hot and they are their own worst enemy. It seems like almost every year.
Well, the problem is they're in the same division as the Dodgers, and the Dodgers just seemingly run away from everything. I mean, they're 4.5 games back right now. The Padres behind the Los Angeles Dodgers. They're playing very good, 8-2 in their last 10, but you're still talking about 4.5 games. I mean, that's a really, really good week against the Dodgers, really bad week. So they were 8 back. So they've done a nice job of becoming relevant again. But I've always said, when you go on a big run, is it a run, or is it, is this really who the team is? Are you really this good? Right. But the other side of it is, are you spending all your energy just to catch up? And then once you catch up, now you kind of cool off a little bit. Now, I think the tightest of all the divisions is probably the American League East, which is
with the Orioles and the Yankees
at flat-footed tie, exactly the same.
Wow.
Exactly the same at 67 and 46. So both very good, same records. And they've been going back and forth all year long. So that's probably the tightest division, but there's still a lot of good baseball to play. And I don't think there's any division you can actually say that one's over. I mean, even if you look at the AL Central, as great as Cleveland has played, they're 4.5 games over the Minnesota Twins. So you just go through.
And then you have the Royals are only a half game behind the Twins.
Right.
The Royals are, like I said, the AL Central and the NL Central could have 3 teams from both divisions in the playoffs.
The Phillies have cooled off And the Atlanta Braves have gotten hotter. Phillies are 2-8 in their last 10.
Oh, I see that. Yeah, I know
they have not played well. And then Atlanta's 4-6. So, you thought that division was over because it was 8-9 games, something like that, man. You just have one bad week and things can turn around. And the Atlanta Braves, they're the team that they've been the team to beat in the National League East, for years. So yeah, there is nothing written in stone. There's still a lot of great baseball that has to be played.
So you're saying we shouldn't be freaking out, Mike? You're saying Houston fans should
I've been trying to talk you down off the ledge since we start this freaking podcast.
and I'm the always positive, always Astros guy.
Yeah.
I see. Look, if some of y'all come to me for your positive inspiration, I've got to go somewhere. I don't know. Mike's got to go.
So is that the old saying? Every psychiatrist has a psychiatrist.
Yes. And you wonder, like at the end, like there's one guy that's just,
right. It's got to stop somewhere.
No one to go to. So that's probably where faith comes in, right? But so I do have a question. Someone wanted to ask. Oscar Hernandez, and I would probably point this more towards you because you're a former pitcher. What do you think about Spencer Arrighetti, and do you think his ceiling is high? And I know we talked about him early on, but what do you think about him overall, just early on, looking at what he's got?
I think that he has been remarkably good, especially when you look at where he came from, where he started, because I felt like when he got called up, he wasn't really ready to become a big. He was forced into the big leagues. Now, he's not going to admit that. He's happy he got called up to the big leagues. But I think but he's made some really good adjustments. His damage control has gotten so much better because you remember, just go back to his first start against the Kansas City Royals. He shoved for 3 innings, then gave up 7 in 1 inning.
The bottom.
And that's the issue that he would have. Once the snowball got started down the hill, he wasn't able to stop it. He wasn't able to make that big pitch to get himself out of trouble. Well, it started at 7 and then it's kind of slowly gone down. And, he's done a much better job of making pitches when he gets out of the stretch with runners in scoring position to get himself out of trouble. So, what is his upside? I don't know. I don't think he's a top of the rotation guy, but can you say that you can see him being a solid number 3? Absolutely. I think, in another couple, 2 or 3 years, he really gets his feet grounded. He makes the adjustments he needs to make. I think, a 3 or 4 starter, if he's in one of those roles, I think you got a pretty good pitching staff because that means you got some guys that are ahead of him that are better. So, I like the adjustments that Spencer has been able to make in his short big league career so far.
No, yeah, I couldn't agree more. It seems like, for whatever reason, I pay attention to what he says more than anybody. Maybe because he's a rookie.
He tells the truth, but he tells the truth. Hunter Brown does the same thing.
Yeah, that's true.
They're not out there saying just the cliches.
Right.
I'm just happy to be here, just trying to help the team win.
Yeah. We just got to play better. We just got to,
one game at a time. The whole nuclear loose stuff. Yeah.
Oh, that's what Craig Biggio was notorious for that.
Yes.
Biggio was the most cliche post-game interview.
That's baseball, man. That's baseball.
It's baseball. You win some, you lose some. You can't win them all. Oh my God, that's so funny. And I also heard Craig was quite the fighter after games. If he felt like he deserved a hit when he got an error, he went and asked the scorekeeper, "Hey, what about that hit?"
You want to rethink that one? Do you want to rethink that one?
Well, hey, Mike, this has been a great show. We could probably come back Thursday, man. Thursday, the Astros are off after the Texas series and see how they did. I think this series sets up nicely for the Astros. The
rotation in line.
Pitchers set the table. The Astros hitters just got to serve. And, hey, man, hopefully some Houston fans can make it up there this week because I know we usually travel pretty well up there.
Yes, no doubt. I don't think with the way the Rangers have played, I think the Astros fans will be quite boisterous there at Globe Life Park.
They will. Well, hey, this has been a great show again from State of the Art Barbershop. Make sure you guys check them out in Friendswood, 1616 South Friendswood Drive. Tell Ever Cruz we sent you, and they'll give you a 10% discount on your haircut. We're coming to you live from the Ram Shirt Studios. Right there, the QR code. You can grab a Back to the Bullpen shirt like Mike Stanton is sporting. And make sure that you tune in to us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and share it with everybody. Let them know that you want to go back to the bullpen, and it's a great trip. So y'all have a good one. And for myself and everybody here, let's go Stros.
Adios.
I'm looking to the bullpen to bring my lefty in. Keep the lead and make your team look pedestrian. It's in your wheelhouse, we'll swing for the fence. You know it's money around here, man, I ain't talking expense. Strike one, heat low in the way, you can't hit it. You know you want to start a rally, but you better forget it. Strike two, off speed, same spot, your car looking. Get ready at the plate, this time you're not cooking. Strike three, swinging out of the zone. You ain't even touch it first. Tell me how they gonna drive you home. Walking back, looking like we ain't cool then. The game's over, might as well put them back to the bullpen, oh yeah.
Righty. Oh, hold on. I got to end it. I didn't end it.